In 1185 BCE, the wealthy coastal city of Ugarit was destroyed. Enemy ships appeared off the Syrian shore, and within weeks, the city's defenses broke, and the palace was consumed by fire. The clay tablets archaeologists recovered from the rebel are routine grain receipts and diplomatic memos. The fire that destroyed the city baked these records hard, preserving the final administrative acts of a dying world. This is what institutional collapse looks like from the inside. It's a series of mundane requests, ships in the wrong ports, grain that isn't moving, and bureaucrats filing paperwork to manage a cascade they can't stop. When we analyze modern threats, we tend to isolate them. We look at a Middle East energy shock or generative AI labor displacement as independent problems with independent solutions. Network science suggests that complex systems don't usually fail because of a single shock. They fail when two specific points of stress turn red at the same time. The Late Bronze Age functioned as a hyper-interconnected supply chain. Power depended on moving copper from Cyprus and tin from as far as Afghanistan across thousands of miles to keep the chariot armies equipped. This system was highly efficient, which meant it carried very little slack. Every resource was optimized for normal conditions, leaving no emergency buffers for a crisis. Proxy climate data shows that around 1198 BCE, a severe, multi-year drought hit central Anatolia. The palace grain stores were designed for a bad season, but they were overwhelmed by a 3-year dry episode. As the grain ran out, trade routes began to fail. This emptied the royal treasuries, exactly when the cost of provisioning the population spiked, a paired shock the system couldn't absorb. This is the context for the Sea Peoples. They were displaced populations and opportunistic raiders moving through a maritime network that had lost its capacity to defend itself. The Sea Peoples didn't cause the collapse, they accelerated it. The system failed because it encountered two structural breakdowns it was never designed to handle simultaneously. We can apply this same network stress test to the global systems of 2026 to see where the modern buffers are thinning. Node 1 is the Strait of Hormuz. It carries 20% of global oil and a fifth of the world's liquid natural gas. There is no alternative route capable of absorbing this volume. A protracted war here creates a regime of structural inflation. When energy and shipping costs stay high for months, the shock transmits through every layer of the global economy. Node 2 is the rollout of generative AI. This technology is currently being integrated into clerical, customer service, and administrative roles, the middle-income jobs that stabilize the modern labor market. This transition isn't just software. It requires a massive increase in grid electricity to power the high-density server aisles that process the world's data. We are looking at a military threat to energy routes, aligned with an infrastructural threat to labor stability. If AI labor displacement happens in a vacuum, it's a manageable transition. It's painful for those displaced, but a healthy economy can eventually adapt to the new productivity. But the true danger lies in their interaction. We need to look at what happens if that labor transition hits exactly when an energy shock spikes inflation and drains government reserves. As energy costs spike, they consume the fiscal space needed for social safety nets, erasing the budget required to cushion the labor shock. At the same time, the energy crisis throttles the electricity needed for data centers. The new economy is starved of power. Modern states have tools the Bronze Age palaces lacked: central banks, strategic reserves, and social insurance. We aren't destined for the same total collapse, but the historical pattern is that leaders optimize for normal conditions until normal conditions end. Once the reorganization begins, it is faster and more brutal than the signals leading up to it suggested. The scribes at Ugarit couldn't see their network failing from their desks. We have the data to see the second node loading. Whether we build the buffers in time is a choice.